was the 1990s, a big show in a small town off I-75 in Georgia. They were called the biggest cocks in the henhouse. But things have changed since then. It's been 30 years, and they finally found a home here, like everyone else, doing a podcast. It's Erica and Mark, the phone call podcast thing.
Excuse me.
Are you hitting the bar again?
No, I'm sipping coffee. What do you think I'm doing?
Okay. Oh, I can hear some.
You made me choke when I looked at your haircut. What did you do to your hair?
No, it's just not combed, that's all.
Mark and I can see each other again. And Mark looks like, did you just get out of a Mississippi chain gang or something? Because you got some kind of short crop thing
it's
going.
supposed to be combed over and greased back, and it's got a little style to it, but today it's called, I wore a ball cap all day today, and I was out working in the back garden.
You know, they have a name for the style of your hair. It's called 1957 there, Elvis. Jeez, you're trying to...
You know what? And it's funny because the lady that cuts my hair always gives me a military discount. I think it's because of the way I get my hair cut. She just assumes you had to have been in the military.
From what military? The North Korean military? I mean, what are you going for? I don't...
Hey, man, I'm trying.
Yeah, all right. Just... You keep that shit up, man, because it's
I
amusing
can't
the
help
rest
it. Your
of us.
hair's the same length since I've known you since the 1990s.
Look, I have great hair. I am so lucky with my hair. This hair, though, costs me a couple $100 every few months. So.
Well, you're no longer. It's no longer a mullet now. It's full length all the way around.
And now I have bangs and I have layers, and it looks fantastic. And it's all fake blonde. And as soon as I get rid of the blonde, I will probably age 15 years. So I'm not going to do that. I got to stay young. Hey, I actually applied for a new job. I hope nobody at my actual job is listening to this, because I applied for a new job and I'm on my third thing. So I applied online a couple months ago, and then finally about 3 weeks ago, they sent me a thing that said, hey, we see that you're still interested. Or are you still interested? Click here and update this, and then somebody will contact you. And that was like 3 weeks ago. And then a week ago, they sent me another thing that said, hey, somebody from the local is going to call you, or is going to send you a link to a test, and we want you to click this link and take the test, and then we'll be back in touch. So that happened yesterday.
Was
so
it
what
kind of test was it?
It's there are 3 possible answers, and it says, which 2 of these answers best describe you? And I'm like,
oh okay.
I hate those, man.
I know. After 2 tests,
yeah. So anytime you see one of those and there's like a definite, if you see I always or I never, or just steer away from anything that has a definite and just click the other ones, and that's how you get through that. So that's what I did.
I
always
picked I always.
Yeah. Look what happened to you. Got old and retired.
Yes.
Me.
No wonder I could never get the good jobs.
Me looking. This isn't to replace my current job is fine. I'm very busy, although it could be gone at any second with the way the economy and the way broadcasting is. This is for the Apple Store.
Oh,
that's
really?
That's all I'll say. I won't say anything else about where it is. I think that pretty much says everything, doesn't it?
Interesting.
I've had too much coffee. Yeah,
so you're on. So you've cleared the gatekeeper.
I have. I've got actual robots sending me stuff now, and then maybe a human will contact me at some point.
Yes.
I don't know. I did go in there and get
I
another
bet
phone.
There's like a Zoom call type thing. It's like where there's a bunch of people from different locations spitballing you questions.
Maybe. I don't. It could be aliens for all I know.
So what do you think, now all kidding aside,
yeah.
Do you think if you threw a pride flag behind you, get a better job at a job? Better shot at a job?
No, okay. Not at all. No, not with Apple. Apple doesn't.
I don't see that really as being a positive that much. You know what I mean? Like if you're into it, it's fine. But I think it's kind of like when you're selling your house. Don't have all your gaudy artwork that you find phenomenal up there. You keep it minimalized and people decide what they want the place to be.
And you got to bury St. Christopher in your front yard. Is that what it was? There was some saint. There was some saint that you had to bury if you wanted to sell your house quickly.
St. Christopher is the one I think that watches out for the pets.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there was some.
No, that's another saint.
My ex was a Catholic, and it was like, no, we have to bury this saint in the front yard, and then the house will sell faster. And I'm like,
Oh, I never heard
okay,
of that.
I'm sure that's going to work. You know what, though? It worked. It sold fast, and we made money on the house, so I didn't complain.
When the Hispanic Catholics were burning candles to everything, they had a candle for everything.
Well, that's why there's always fires in the Hispanic community.
You ever been to, because I know they got them all over Florida. Have you ever been inside one of those Hispanic-ran gas stations or stores?
Oh, I went into a Hispanic-ran taco place with my daughter the other day, and we were the only white people in there.
Now, did they have a store where you could buy things?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I've been to a couple. Those places are great. So the one that we go to, they have a little restaurant that's off to the side, and it has this big PV Bluetooth amplifier playing loud-ass Mexican music to the point where you can hardly hear it. But then the wall doesn't go all the way to the roof or to the ceiling in the restaurant side, and they're blasting very different music over in the grocery store side. So the grocery store music is bleeding into the restaurant, and so you've got competing Mexican hat dances going on while you're trying to talk and eat your amazing taco.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. The restaurant I go to, the stores next door, they have a wall between the two. Yeah. And in the restaurant, they literally have that Bluetooth speaker up on a big stand, like you're getting ready to throw down on a party.
Yep.
And did it flash with the beat of the music?
It did, yes. Yes, they were like purple lights flashing.
That's it. And it's so loud.
Yes.
It's like louder than necessary.
Do you know why they have that? That's to keep white people out. But that is not going to work on me because I respect the Hispanic culture, and especially the Mexicans who make the most amazing tacos.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
So when you go to those stores, I remember it was hilarious because they had the candles. You ever see the Jesus candles?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
Okay.
They love their Jesus. I believe it's pronounced Jesus in their culture.
No, Cristo.
That sounds like a cleaning product. I need some Cristo. The sink is dirty. Need some Cristo. For the love of Cristo.
For everything. And I literally saw a prayer that was for when you have a relative in prison.
Oh.
There was a candle you would light to protect them while they were in prison.
To protect them from what?
I don't know. But here's the weird thing about them.
Uh-huh.
So when the kids were teenagers and acting a fool, like all teenagers do, except their definition of fool is a little different than what ours was.
I think it's pronounced El Fulo.
Yes.
That's very
We would
different.
light these candles for them, right?
For the El Fulos.
And if we were asking for something like if we were just saying, hey, make sure they have a good day at school or whatever, when the candle would be done, it would be just burnt down to the bottom.
Yeah.
But if you ask them specific things, like you ask the candle, you say, hey, I need you to make sure that they're protected from such and such because this is what's going on and all that stuff. The candle, the glass in the inside, jet black.
No, really?
Freak you out. Freaks me out.
It's a little weird.
Freak me out.
Can you protect them from getting their lunch peso stolen and then it turns black? And then the kid comes home, my lunch pesos got stolen today, Daddy.
I remember one time David was really out of control. He was drinking a lot and he was partying too much. And
in elementary school?
No, this was when he was in high school.
Oh, okay.
And we were praying for him, and Duffy decided she wanted to. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. What time is it?
Well,
I need to bleep that out.
That's 8:50. Mark has just made an edit in the podcast today because he mistakenly said his ex-wife's name, and he realizes that she may appear if he says it.
If you say it
especially
times.
If you stand in front of him. Right. Turn the lights out in the bathroom, and all you're going to hear is a bunch of swearing in Spanish.
And perfume bottles getting thrown at you.
Got a little experience there, huh? Perfume bottle. That's expensive.
Wait a minute, I'm
She couldn't pick
car.
cheaper stuff to throw at you. She's throwing perfume is expensive.
Hey, I'm telling you, she could throw better than Pedro Fernando, whatever his name was.
Who?
Venezuela,
Who was that?
Whatever his name was, Fernando Venezuela.
No. Who could throw better?
My ex.
What was her name again?
Chloris, I think.
Yeah. Chlorine down your throat. That's what her name was.
Anyway, we were paying for David, and she wanted to throw salt in his room and on his bed.
That's okay. Sure.
I think we put enough salt on there that
He comes home and says, "Did somebody go to the beach and lay in my
I
bed?"
thought maybe he would get high blood pressure from just laying in his bed.
Oh my
It was
God!
full.
Why?
But anyway, so as we're throwing salt and sage and all this stuff, the TV comes on. You weren't in my house that I got for clothes on, right? You never came to that one, the two-story one.
No.
So it's,
Oh yeah, no, I did.
okay.
Yeah.
And the TV came on, and it was blasting so loud. It just came on by itself. It started blasting.
Maybe you should have been doing "Don't foreclose on my house"
I think
spells.
that once you start bringing in the sage and all that stuff, the Spanish people they got their whatever you call it.
Their witchcraft.
Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to get anything against me.
L witchcraft.
They're kind of like they are in town here in the city. They got their own little ways of doing things, and
Oh yeah, so you're talking about the voodoo people up there in New Orleans.
Sometimes it's a polite thing, and sometimes it's meant to be a not polite thing.
Okay, so you're talking about Mexican voodoo.
No,
is what
not
you're
really
talking
that.
about.
They were just very superstitious.
Hold on, I got to add that to the band name list. Mexican voodoo. That's a good one.
Well, yeah, because you had wall voodoo. Mexican voodoo could be Mexican voodoo
Could be an offshoot.
could be a wall of voodoo cover band.
That's a good idea. Mexican voodoo. There we go. OGOO. And that's right after Pseudo Blister, Incognito Apple, The Muscular Presidents, Mouse Cop, and I believe last week we talked about Punch. Punch was where we left off last week, but apparently Taylor and I have been slacking on putting the band names in, but that's all right.
All right, let's take a quick break here because we come back. We passed a milestone that we need to pat ourselves on the back.
A milestone?
A milestone.
Does this have anything to do with Mexican voodoo?
No, but maybe if somebody might have gave us a good voodoo towards our way.
All right, I'm going to go get the salt, and we'll be right back.
Erica and Mark. The phone call.
All right, I'm back. I'm out of coffee, but I brought pink sea salt with me. Now, is pink sea salt okay for your Mexican spells,
I don't
or
know.
do I need
Is
regular
that gay
salt?
salt?
It's delicious. I can tell. It's probably not super
Where's
good
it
for
come
you.
from?
This pink sea? I don't
The
fucking
pink
know, man. What am I, a
It could
freaking
be.
salt miner?
We have a black sea,
I don't
why
know.
not?
Well, I'm gonna. You know what? Do you know who will know?
Tran, what's his name?
Tran. No, it's Cove.
Cove.
Hey, Cove. Buddy, can you tell me real quick, where does pink salt come from? I have pink salt that I eat on everything. Where does it come from?
Hey, pink salt, like the kind you probably have, usually comes from the Himalayan region.
Oh, the Himalayas. Keep going.
Yep. So, the salt is mined from the Kevra salt mine in Pakistan, which is one of the oldest and largest salt mines in the world.
Uh-oh.
The pink color comes from trace minerals like iron oxide. It's pretty popular because it not only looks cool, but also has a unique flavor and mineral content.
All right, Cove, I understand that this comes from Pakistan. Am I somehow inadvertently funding Pakistani terror?
I get why you might wonder about that, but buying pink salt doesn't mean you're funding anything like that. It's a commercial product, and the proceeds generally go to the mining companies and the workers in that region. It's just like buying any other imported good. If you have any concerns, you can always look into the brand you buy from and their sourcing practices.
Well, I hope I don't have anybody from India listening to this podcast today, because they're still pretty pissed off at the Pakistanis for that war that was going on last week. That, thank God Trump is here. Trump solved it.
Is it over already?
Trump got them together and got them all to have a little ceasefire, and then literally 30 minutes later they were back fighting with each other. As soon as Trump had his press conference, I've solved the Pakistan-Indian war. Everything's good. Trump is taking care of it. Yeah, and then they were fighting again 30 minutes later. And
So you know what we accomplished the other day?
no.
Well, last week when was it the beginning of this week? I can't remember. When I was putting together tomorrow's show, that'll be lifted into the playground.
Right.
I ended up realizing we're no longer in season 1. We're in season 2.
Oh, I didn't know we had seasons. So wait a minute. So this podcast phone call could be canceled at some point?
Well, maybe they've allowed us 52 episodes so far and haven't charged us anything.
Oh, let me get my salt outs and make sure that we
Of
can
course, we haven't
take
made
care
any
of that.
money because I noticed we're not having any. I should have never said I was having commercials in here because the minute I mentioned we had commercials, I don't have any more commercials.
That's a see, and I remember it's like, hey, we're going to be making like $100 here, $150
Yeah.
there. I haven't seen
All the
any money. Have you
commercials are
seen
in the open and the closing roll.
and we don't get a piece of that.
That's
though.
their money.
But we did get renewed, so this is season
It's
2.
season
so
2.
so I should probably start acting a little better. I should stop my
Technically,
bullshit.
what the one we're recording right now on the 15th of May is actually going to be show number 54.
Wow, do you think this will ever get into the Library of Congress?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, sure. If somebody
What
leaves
was
a
the name
tape
of
in the
movie
Library
that
of
had
Congress.
was it Terry
Logan's
Crews
Run.
was the president because he was arrested?
Oh God, yeah, Idiocracy.
Yeah, so if that
that's us,
happens,
yeah.
yes, we will be there.
Yeah, we will. We could certainly be the smartest people in the world if that happened.
I know. I couldn't believe that we've actually we put more than 54 shows now together. Count this one, but we did more than that because we did a bunch of dry runs before we actually started.
We had some practice shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to see.
And those, how were those? I didn't listen.
You know,
I didn't listen to
have
those
some,
either.
And we should. You know what?
No.
Do you want me
No.
to?
No.
Okay.
I already nope. No. I have a hard time listening to stuff from 30 years ago. I'd have an even harder time listening to stuff from 2 years ago.
Speaking of which, have you heard any more?
No.
Did you-
I want to say I haven't really gone
No?
through the. I found a whole nother box of tapes though
Oh, my
because
goodness.
I was moving my daughter's stuff around. I'm like, oh look at this, there's more tapes.
I know you
So
had
I
them
should
somewhere.
probably
You knew you had
should
them
probably
too,
get
but
on that.
You weren't sure
Yeah, I
where.
should probably get on. You're not on a lot of them though. I'm finding a lot of stuff from. I used to go through partners like water
Todd?
at that Macon station. Yep. Yeah, I found some Todd stuff.
Yeah.
And I found some stuff
Todd was before
from
me.
Chris. Yes, and then Chris was before Todd. Chris was great, man. If Chris had stayed there, I would have never met you. Chris was fantastic. He was doing overnights, and then he was producing and being the my other partner on the morning show, and they were paying him like $7 an hour
Kind
to
of
do it.
like I was doing in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, and then I show up driving a brand new Mustang GT, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then we get the ratings back, and we're number 1, and he asks for more money. And they're like, "Well, it's just not in the budget," and he's like, "Fuck you!" I never saw him again.
Wow.
I had never even talked to
He's
him
got
again.
balls. I'd be
Yep.
scared to do that, but he just went out and said,
Yep.
screw it.
He didn't care. He had a bit of a drinking and anger management problem, maybe, and so did my second partner, allegedly, until he found. My last 2 morning show partners found Jesus along the way. I guess that's what I do. I bring in people with drinking problems, and then they all find Jesus.
Yes.
Somehow Jesus eludes me. I don't know what's going on. Jesus, I've seen. He's putting a new roof on the condo here and making a lot of noise. I don't know if you can hear it.
So where did he go? You don't even know where he went?
He was following me on. What was it? It wasn't. It might have been Twitter. Back when I still had a Twitter, he followed me on Twitter, but I never posted on Twitter. And he was living down in Fort Lauderdale, like had a cigar store or something.
Oh, really?
So
he wasn't doing any radio anymore.
No. He was done with
But it was
radio.
just a
He was
natural,
smart.
though.
He was great. He was funny. He was smart. He would let me fuck with him mercilessly, and he would just take it, kind of like you.
Yeah.
Kind of like you. Todd wasn't like that. Todd would get all mad at me when I would pick on him.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, dude, this is the show. This is what we do.
It's the shtick, man.
I'm not doing it for real. It's just the show. Todd was kind of crazy though. Todd was in the middle of a bitter divorce with his wife, and she took their like 3-year-old son back to Indiana, and he started drinking and was showing up at like 6:15, smelling like whiskey. And oh yeah, he was quite the piece of work. There was one day I was leaving, to just go get an early lunch, and I think I was going to meet Trade and Tim maybe, and he just comes out of the front of the station, and he starts pounding on the window of my car. He's like, where the fuck are you going? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what? Why don't you ever want to go anywhere? I said, dude, I'm just going to get lunch. You're going without me. And I'm like, I didn't know you wanted to go to lunch at like 10:45. I thought you were busy. I'm just going to go now. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was losing his mind.
He really was. And he eventually... I might be the one. I hope he doesn't listen to this. I might be the one that got him fired because I'd had it with him. He was making my life miserable.
Right.
And it was Christmas time, and I had about a week and a half off, and I went into Curtis. I didn't even talk to Nathan, and I said, "Hey, I can't deal with him anymore because he's terrible on the air. He's making my life miserable. He's not funny. He's just angry. He's got a lot of personal shit going on. And I understand that happens to people, but it's gone on long enough. And I've tried to talk to him, and he's just getting worse and drinking too much. So I'm going to go to Florida for Christmas, and I'm going to come back after New Year's. And if he's still here, I'll know that you want him to do the morning show instead of me." And Curtis was like, "What?" And I said, "Him or me, buddy. Merry Christmas. I'll see you next year." And I walked out of the office. And they called me when I was at home, and I didn't answer. And I got in the car, and I drove down to Florida. I had a lovely Christmas. And I came back before New Year's, and I called Nathan, our boss, and I said, "So, how's it going there at the station?" He's like, "Oh, wasn't sure if I was going to hear from you." And I said, "So am I coming to work on Monday?" And he's like, "Well, if this tells you anything, I've been doing the morning show since you've been gone." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yep. And now you're by yourself, and it's your fault until we find you somebody to." And I said, "I can live with that." So I started having
better do so by yourself than that.
Yeah. And I just started having guest hosts. I would have Cecily, who did the news for the urban station. I'd have her come on the air with me as much as I could. I had some of the reporters from the TV stations and some of the charity guys we worked with. I just had whoever would come in to the radio station and do the show. I had Rock. Remember Rock Bustle?
Yeah.
Rock was one of our sales guys. I almost never hired you because of him, because he was fantastic. And I was like, "Rock, you need to do the morning show." He's like, "Oh man, no, I can't get up at 3:00 in the goddamn morning. No way." And because, he drank as well.
Quite the drinker.
But God, man, when he would come on the show with me, that was great radio. He was hilarious, that guy. But then you show up from Albany or Bainbridge, wherever the hell you were, and it's like, I like this guy. He went to the same scammy radio school I went to in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, it is a sign. We must hire him immediately, Nathan.
He's got to pay back that student loan.
Oh, dude, Nathan was so mad at me that I went over his head and just told Curtis, "Hey, him or me,
Nathan
buddy."
Did not like that kind of stuff.
Well, I had been trying to get Nathan to get rid of him, and Nathan was just like, "No, you guys will work it out." I'm like, and when I'm done, I'm done. And that was my livelihood and my reputation, because let's be honest, it was my show.
Did you guys get a book back with him and help? Was it down?
Slipped, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yep. Nope. No, it wasn't good. He wasn't good, and it wasn't good for me, and I was miserable. So I was literally ready. I had a job at the radio station here in Sarasota. It was just a part-time job, but I could have worked that into a full-time job at some point. So I just didn't care. I was ready to go.
Right.
I'm like, I do not care. I will go play Elvis Presley records rather than sit here and do one more show with you, buddy.
Were you married then? Not yet.
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, because she would have came back anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, sure. But it was an interesting time. So I canceled him, and I don't know. Maybe in retrospect, I feel a little bad about it, but we really tried to make that work. Yeah, he became a preacher. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Oh, really?
He literally became. He moved back to Missouri, where he's from, and he got a little church. And
how about that?
Yeah, I know. How about that? That's what I mean. Everybody who does a morning show with me turns into a born-again Christian. I don't know what it is about. Maybe I am the devil. I've had plenty of girls look at me and say, "You are the goddamn devil." That has happened to me more times than I care to admit, and maybe it's true.
Yeah, there's a few people that I wonder whatever happened to. Like, I had a morning show partner when I left. when I left that place over there in Brunswick, and ended up in Hattiesburg, I inherited a co-host. Her name was Jordan Sinclair, and she was really really good.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know. Is that just a standard radio name, or maybe she bounced around a little bit? She's a redhead.
Oh, okay. So crazy.
Short hair. You know, I saw pictures of her the other day. I told you when the station did their 35th birthday or whatever it was there.
Yeah. The one that they didn't invite you to. Yeah. That's the one.
Well, they didn't have actually. They didn't actually. They should have brought the jocks in, but they didn't. But they put old pictures up, and I saw pictures of her, and I remember, that was good. I don't know whatever happened to her. Never. I just lost when she left. I just lost track of her.
Redheads. You don't know what they're
I
going
know
to do.
the guy that came with me after that. He ended up in Texas, and now he sells heavy equipment. Like
that's not bad. That's
what do you call it? Like cranes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's apparently pretty lucrative.
Well, sounds like he might not have been qualified for that, but I'm glad he grew into something.
And the guy that was the
what are
news
you
guy,
qualified?
they did news there. Their stations were all full service. He became he took over after I left, and he's still the morning guy there today.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's a long time. All they did was they took what we used to call the morning crew without the G.
Mm-hmm.
And they added a G to it and called it the morning crew. You know, you got to pee on something. Everybody has to pee on something.
How innovative.
You got to pee on something. You always got to leave your mark.
We're growing up, and we're adding a G. The G is for growing up.
The other day that we had this guy I'd met in Hattiesburg brought me these cassette tapes that he had gotten from someplace else. It was on reel to reel. No, they were on reel to reel. That's right. I dubbed it down to cassette tapes, and they were. This guy was called the Rabbit, and he was a DJ in Nam.
And he was the rabbit. What is it? Because he was knocking up girls in Nam left and right, like a rabbit.
That, but it was like
that's exactly why,
Mark. It
Mark.
wasn't like Robin Williams thing, but it was close. So I don't know if it was based off, if there's a bunch of those kind of jocks like that, or what. Because I know Robin Williams, Good Morning Vietnam,
Adrian Cronauer.
That was named there. Yeah, that was after a real person.
Yes.
But this rabbit guy, my God, he was just vulgar and I mean, I could see where it was like pirate radio type thing, and he would just go do these things and playing music. I think it might have even been done over the two-way or something.
No kidding. The rabbit, huh? He was
heavy rock, like most people had the Starship
in Vietnam.
Album. I mean, the Jefferson Airplane album, but all everybody knew was "Go Ask Alice."
Yeah.
and Don't You Want Somebody to Love? But like the deep stuff that they would have on there, the psychedelic stuff, he was playing that stuff. Like the Doors, he wasn't playing Light My Fire. He was playing This Is the End.
Oh, I like that song. I like that
Frog
song.
Piece.
He was playing The Crystal Ship.
Yeah, The Crystal Ship, things like that.
Yeah, I just did some heroin, man. We're going to play some Doors all morning.
I took the pieces of his thing and just beeped out the bad words and stuff. And I was playing it like we made an entire Friday show before Memorial Day weekend. Or no, it was on Memorial Day, so on Monday. We just did a show. We played all old music, and we put these clips of this guy in between them. Just beeped out the bad word stuff, and just like recreated Vietnam radio.
This sounds like a way more interesting movie than Good Morning Vietnam.
And it was like we called it Nam 104. And they're still doing it today. But now that says underneath it says, and all people that's, obviously, because Nam is now, it's like ancient.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are all 90.
My stepfather died. He was in his near 80, and he was in Vietnam at 18.
Right.
He did 2 tours.
Now, you got to remember, man, Vietnam.
Those guys are all gone. Just about.
Vietnam ended 50 years ago. So if those guys were 18 when they were in Vietnam, they would be, pushing 80 years old now. The youngest ones would be pushing 80.
I guess the next one down would be like the Desert Storm vets, probably.
Yeah, that was the war that the Desert Storm guys were. That was my generation. Half a dozen people I know that I grew up with that joined the military ended up fighting in Desert Storm, and one of them's dead. Another one got sick. And I think he got sick from whatever the stuff that Saddam Hussein poisoned the air with, but I don't know what happened to him. But I know one of them died from that stuff. It's just
I just know that I felt bad that, it's like, and I'm glad that they picked up more. I mean, it was mainly because of the fact that we had those Vietnam clips, but I mean, but now they do it Memorial Day weekend. They do an entire thing for all of them. It's good because the vets, of course, I see a lot of vets when I'm in the chemical dependency room. And they got some, man, dude, when they're able to talk about stuff without
they did some things, man.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and
some things were done to them. It's gross.
Yeah,
it really is. It's at a young age, 18, 19. Remember that song 19 by Paul Hardcastle?
I play that on my music internet radio station.
All the little clips about
19.
When you take a kid that's and then the fact that they came home and people booed them.
Yeah. That's just hard to believe,
gross,
isn't it?
And it's just so sad. It's beyond ridiculous. I mean, some of those guys, the government's helping them a little bit, but it takes forever for them to get past, to even get help to get off of the booze or dope or whatever they picked up to try to ease the craziness out of them. And they all of them have PTSD. And they self-medicate because it takes forever for them to get their medicines.
Right. And it makes sense as to why most of those people die. I totally understand that.
Yeah, I man, when they come in, it's like we get this halfway house that comes in, drops the guys off, and I have them for like an hour, and it's like, man, their stories like, oh my gosh, these poor people, just like, no wonder. There's no wonder you didn't try to find something to numb. My anxiety that I have or had. Still have some, but I mean,
it's from your Mexican motorcycle gang. I know.
Compared to what they have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the difference between I may have a problem and I have a serious problem.
Yeah, you were like, well, I was once attacked by kittens, and it gave me a lot of PTSD of the kittens all attacking me at once. Like, oh yeah.
There's like, I got eaten by a mountain lion, got crapped out, and got eaten by another one.
Yeah. Well, I had a little 5'2" guy with buck teeth shoving reeds in under my fingernails. How about that? While I was in a bamboo cage. Yeah. So tell me about your kittens,
tell
Mark.
Me about your kittens. Oh God. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here. I want to. Of course, you know me. I managed to get myself into BuzzFeed.
Oh, is that still a thing?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it's grown up to where people like me are now amazed by it.
Are you using Netscape to get onto that? What are you doing?
Actually, I have a dial-up.
Oh my God.
And it's based out of Biloxi.
All right, you can stop right there. BuzzFeed next.
Erica and Mark. The phone call.
This was written by Aaron Ant. He's a BuzzFeed contributor. Mm-hmm. Ready for the catchy what do you call them? What do you call tagline? Not tagline.
Headline.
Headline. That's it. Yeah, but isn't there another word for it? Like they use to get you to.
Man, I don't know what you guys did in 2007. I don't know.
Clip bake or something, or clam bake.
Yeah, it's clam bake. So what does it say there? Clam bake. That's good. That should be your CB handle. Clam bake. Hey, it's clam bake. Breaker 19er. It's the clam bake here. Just got my haircut.
To clam bake it.
Yeah.
Clam bake at AOL.com.
It's the clam bake here. Just got my haircut by a North Korean girl. Come back. That's what people want to hear. All right, go to BuzzFeed. God's sake. Come on, clam bake. Get it together, man.
If I'm not funny, I'm funny looking at least.
I didn't want to say it, but I had to.
Millennials are reminiscing about things that literally no other generation gets.
Really?
And it says, and I am emotionally not okay with it.
Tell me one of these
Aaron
things.
Says. Okay. First one. Go down the line here.
It's a little dead air here in this segment of the program. Because there's more. This is all free. The dead air, by the
talking
way.
about that's it. The noise that it makes when there's the dial-up modem internet forced us to choose between making phone calls or surfing the web.
That is true. That happened. Happened a lot back in the 90s.
And isn't that weird that now you do both from your phone?
Yeah, and then as soon as somebody picked up like the other phone to make a call, but you were on the internet, it kicked you off the internet because the internet was like, I don't know what to do.
Blockbuster Video is one. Running
yeah,
video.
I missed that.
You know,
That was a good
Blockbuster.
time.
You heard that story about Blockbuster and the meeting with Netflix, right?
No.
That Netflix went to Blockbuster to work on, and Blockbuster wanted no part of it. He says that's not your idea. It's not going to work.
No one's going to watch movies on the internet. That's not what it's. The internet is for pornography.
And then remember, Netflix was they would ship them out.
Yeah. I know. I used to get them in the mail. You know, there's one thing I've never done. I've never gone to Redbox. Remember Redbox became a thing?
Redbox, huh?
Never had a
still
Redbox
around.
thing. Never.
There's
never
like
once.
1,700 still in the United States. They said.
Yeah, well, I have a Chinese website if I need any movie. I don't need goddamn Redbox.
But yeah, I've been to Redbox was my cable when I was married and poor in radio.
Yeah, with that haircut, I bet.
They miss going to the computer lab and learning more about computers, but knowing that they knew more than the teachers and the teacher and the administration did.
You know, I was talking about that with my friend Brian, and how both of our daughters are not great at troubleshooting computer problems. And I said, oh, I know why. And it's because we had to actually learn computers. I mean, we had to learn how they worked.
Right.
We had to learn the in and outs of when there was a problem. You know, what do you got to do? Do I got to do this? We had to actually troubleshoot problems and fix problems. These kids all have amazing computers that never break and nothing ever goes wrong. So they have no idea how they work. They just know what they want it to do.
That's crazy. We didn't even have anywhere close to that. We had typing. That was the closest we got to internet.
I never took one typing class.
How about this one? When you took someone to the airport, you went through security and watched them board the plane.
Oh, I miss that so much.
Now,
Yeah,
I
that
can
blows
remember
people's minds.
back in the black and white days, where there was no security.
Right, yeah, that was back when you were flying Braniff, I believe.
No, Eastern
People's Express.
Eastern Airlines.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I almost died on an Eastern Airlines plane once.
Really?
That's just the most afraid I've ever been on an airplane in my life. We were flying into Atlanta back in the 80s. And it was just a massive thunderstorm. And I'm on this piece of crap Eastern 727 flying back from Pittsburgh. And the storm was so, we're all looking at it, we're like, we're not really going to land to that, are we? Oh, sure enough, and the plane lands. And there's some lady sitting next to me on my right. I'll never forget it. And we're just looking at each other because the plane is like, and it's rocking. I'm looking out the window. I'm like, oh my God, we are literally going to die. And we had to be flying through one of those down drafts that you're not allowed to fly through anymore.
Yeah.
So the plane hits the runway so hard that it hurt my neck. And she grabs my hand with her fingernails and is squeezing my hand. And the plane is porpoising down the runway. It's like, bam, bam, and the engines are. And I'm like, oh my freaking God, this is what happens right before. I don't know how the landing gear didn't break off of that plane and we didn't just skid down the runway in flames, because I'll never forget. I have dreams about that. It still scares me. I literally, that is probably the only time of my life where I thought, I am about to die. Like, I'm about to actually, and I've had plenty of accidents, but I never thought I was going to die, except for that one time.
Yeah, that was, whew.
That is my one time where I was like, oh my God, I am literally about to die. Oof.
What do you think about this?
What else?
Were you ever part of this? An AOL chat room?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yes. I was a moderator on the classic rock
Of course you were.
chat room.
Yeah, I would. That
You
was
got
how I
free
discovered.
AOL if you did it. Your AOL was free if you volunteered to be a chat monitor like once or twice a week for an hour or two.
Boy, here's something the kids don't understand about AOL. They charged you by the minute. So if you were on the internet a lot, there was one month I had like a $300 internet bill, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Internet
Who
was
on
not
that?
nowhere near free.
No. I think I literally just left it on. I just forgot to shut it off and left it on all night once. And that was all it took was, well, $300 out the window. And I was probably making, $300 a week at the time. It was literally a week's pay for the freaking internet that month. Oh, my God. Yeah. Forgot about that.
That was crazy. Yeah, so that's why I did it, so I could get my free AOL.
That was smart.
Okay, setting your MSN Messenger status to display what you are currently listening to.
Oh, I remember that. What was the other one?
But it had a Megal.
Oh, yeah,
Chat
there was
roulette.
another. IQC was the other one that would do that.
Habbo Hotel.
Yep.
Hey, that's a good
I
band.
used that. Was it IQC or IRC? I can't remember. There was another chat we all used that was like that, and I think AOL Messenger did that for a while too. It would just read whatever was playing in iTunes.
Oh, I forgot about this. It was all downloaded from LimeWire.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny that I got thousands of songs from LimeWire. Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny that I went out and got the first cable modem that Comcast was offering in 1998. Just because of that.
You ready for this one? A true millennial can spot the real download link on a software sharing website.
That's true. Yep. Maybe I'm a secret millennial. I'm not, though.
Oh, gosh. Let's see what else. What else do they have here? Kazaa taught me so much that I even to this day, I did not need to learn Kazaa.
I forgot all about Kazaa. What in the hell? That was that was the other one. We would get videos from Kazaa. LimeWire was for music,
Yes.
but Kazaa was how my brother used to get me Top Gear, because I didn't know what Top Gear was. I saw this clip of Jeremy Clarkson, and I didn't know who he was back in like 2002, and I told my brother about it. And I think I actually sent it to him somehow. I think I sent it to him like on news, or showed it to him on news groups. And I said, you need to find out what this is and get me whatever TV show this is from England. And he finally comes back and says, oh yeah, that's a new show called Top Gear, but we don't get that here. But hold on, I'll get it for you, and I'll send you a link. So I was watching Top Gear in season 1 on a bootleg link that my brother got me. So that was, everybody's like, what is that? I'm like, this is the greatest show ever is all this is. And it was too. It's still the greatest show ever.
How about this here? Did you grow up in sticks? It says I had to use an MS-DOS 3.5 or a 5.5 floppy disk and a fax machine and a dot matrix printer.
Of course, we had the AP Newswire was on a dot matrix printer.
Yes.
And up until about 6 weeks ago, Selector, the music scheduling program, was still a DOS-based program. Remember, Selector was DOS for how long? Until forever.
They never changed.
No, I mean,
Now,
Selector,
you
still had
they're cloud
Windows
right?
now. Yeah. But man, it was a DOS program, and that was how you scheduled all the music on the radio station well into the 2000s.
Oh yeah, and you know what I
well
like about
into
it?
just
You
a
can
few
just
years
pop
ago.
your floppy disk into another computer and bring your music library right up, and you're all
That
done.
was my favorite thing, because I ended up having a computer at my house, so I would back up the entire library into a floppy, and I would take it home, and I would do all the logs from home. And then people are calling me like, "Hey, why aren't you in the office?" I'm like, "I'm at home doing the logs because you people won't leave me alone." And and it's a long holiday weekend, and I got a ton of logs to do.
And I'm going to wrap up with this one here, because this is something that I had to do, and I don't know. You may or may not had to do this. You probably did, but it was probably towards the tail end of it, when you had to research things with books.
Oh yeah, but we had the Encyclopedia Britannica at our house, which apparently means we were rich.
Yes, there was a high end, because I didn't realize people would
me
literally
neither.
pay that for years a month.
Yeah, that was expensive. Well, we had a whole bookcase full of those.
And it was.
I remember
I would
using
love
them.
to have those now, because I don't know if this is true or not, but I keep it's some of the tinfoil people I hear that like things have changed. Like they're decided like, no, that's not what happened then. Back then they actually told you, different story.
Well, history is always being constantly revised. So it doesn't make,
do you think the Funkin' Wagnalls and the Britannicas, Encyclopedia Britannicas, do you think they were accurate or man-made? You think it was
I think that they were probably I think that they were probably more accurate than the stuff we have now. Like here in Florida, they're getting rid of books that mention slavery and civil rights because they just don't want people to remember, all the bad things that white people did, and they're just like, we just don't need to really think about that anymore.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean that's.
But back then they didn't care. They would put anything in there, good or bad.
There's
They didn't
thoughts
care.
about that, but here's like they tell you, and when you're in recovery, it's okay to look, back in the past and remember where you came from and what happened, so you don't repeat those mistakes. But
Yeah.
I always say the windshield in your car is huge.
I
Your
say
rearview
that all
mirror
the
is
time.
Like this.
Yes, for a reason.
Yes, and it's
Yeah.
and I don't think you need to camp out back there because that's never going to help you. That's already
No.
sailed.
No.
Everything is done back there. Nothing can be changed about it. But what you do today is what matters.
Well, if you want to piss off somebody who has anxiety or depression, use that analogy on them. They hate that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you know what? Looking ahead all the time and worrying about what could jump out in front of you, that's anxiety. Looking back all the time and not looking where you're going, that's depression.
Well, the weird
all you
thing
can do
is,
is worry about today.
I redid my testimony. I did my testimony Tuesday night, and I rewrote it. And I have 3 different testimonies now. From in the last, so that's averaging. It's not exact, but averaging 1 every 5 years, and the growth in each one is incredible. This last one, I went from everything's kind of my fault to everything's probably my fault to everything is my fault.
Yeah.
Like okay, did you have a bad run in a marriage? Yes. Did you stay too long? Whose fault's that?
Yeah.
Did you also do things wrong? Whose fault's that?
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to have a little bit of forgiveness for yourself because you were making decisions that you thought were the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah, because I didn't. Yeah.
And
once you wake up to reality, just take your blame and say you're sorry for what you did, and then be done with it, with the problem, and move on. You do much better.
Yeah, I've done a lot to get over the past and to leave the past where it is. The best thing that works for me is writing. I have a Word document that I have been writing on for years, and all the bad things that were living in my head got into that Word document, and that's where they all live now. And I don't carry those with me anymore. But if I want to visit them, I can pop open that Word document anytime I want.
No, journals are great, man. They talk all about in recovery.
That's all it is. Yep.
Journaling. Yep.
That is the best therapy that you can do for yourself.
Yep. Get it out. I always call it unloading the gun. That's what small group's about. If you're going to recovery, you go to small group. That's what that is about, is saying it out loud to a group of people that aren't going to judge you and don't care. And that way you don't accidentally tell somebody something they don't need to hear. It's called unloading your gun.
Yeah, that's good. Unloading your gun is a whole other thing that some people do in a different way, but we won't talk about those perverts.
Yeah. Try not to do that.
No.
In a group setting, at least.
Right. No, do that at home. Don't do it in the park.
Up to you.
Yeah. And stay out of the park. You know who you are.
All right, my friend. I think we've done enough
We done?
today.
Yeah, I think that's let's leave them on that mental picture.
Yeah. I'll try to get that out of your head.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Sorry to my sister. And sorry to do your kids still listen to this?
My son does.
Ah, well, hi, David.
Every once in a while he does. He says, the other day he said, "Oh, you know what? I haven't listened to you guys in a while."
Yeah.
He listens to It's bad.
His dad
because,
doesn't let me talk.
Because he listens to podcasts all the time, but he listens to podcasts to learn. So I guess he's not going to learn anything here. That's why it's not on his list.
No. All he's going to learn is Jesus. All right, Dad. I know you're fucked up. I'm glad you're doing better.
He listens to podcasts about sales and sales techniques.
Yeah.
And he listens to podcasts about the what do you call it? Trading, like you do.
Dick trading.
Day trading, whatever you call it.
Dick trading is a whole different thing, man. What the hell are you talking about?
No, day
I'm
trading.
not watching dick trading podcasts, but I'm not interested. Maybe I'll see what that's about. Where's your head today?
I don't
This is
know.
because of the haircut. Did she nip your brain? Did you get a lobotomy or something with that haircut?
No, but I did get another massage today, and who knows what kind of chemicals got
Oh.
loosened up.
Oh, speaking of unloading the gun. All right.
You got to remember all this anxiety. It was all built up in here. There's a lot of negative juice inside here. It's got to go
Well,
somewhere.
I hope I didn't contribute to any of
I'd
that.
rather piss it out, tell you the truth, than talk
That's
it out.
that's probably best. Yeah. All right, Mike. Well, good luck with your next haircut, and we'll talk next week.
Okay.
Can you wear a hat next week, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Erica and Mark. The phone call.